August the 26th, Willows. Willow leaves are now fully mature, which means this is the best time since they were in catkin to hazard a field identification. In the spring, they are notoriously misleading, often differing in shape and not developing characters such as teeth or in-roll edges until they're older. There are 18 native species of willow in Britain and over 100 different hybrids. Even in London, perhaps half of these species can be found, and quite a collection of their hybrids. Being notoriously promiscuous, not only are there hybrids, but also back crosses, variants, selections, and sometimes even a perfect graduated sequence of intermediates between two parents. Gardeners have even managed to create hybrids involving 13 different parents. When examining willow leaves, it is vital to note their overall shape, colour, whether they are hairy or not, and the colour of any twigs they are growing on. Our London willows fall into two groups, those with round leaves and those with long ones, some of which may be 12 times as long as they are broad. The most common of the round-leaved willows are the two pussy willows of spring, the goat and the grey willow. Both produce bright sulphur yellow catkins that help announce the spring all over the capital. The leaf shape of the goat willow, Salix caprea, is better described as broadly elliptical rather than round, with a short point at the end bent over slightly. The leaves also have a shiny upper surface and are slightly grey underneath with prominent raised veins. The leaves of the grey willow, Salix cinerea, are similar but larger and with less of a point. They have a wavy edge, duller upper side, and are much greyer underneath. Two other round leaves species are the eared willow and the creeping willow. Both are rare in our area and easy to recognize. The eared willow, Salix aurita, which likes boggy areas, has small ears or leaves of the base of its stalks. Otherwise, its main leaves also have prominent veins and a wavy edge, but in this case, the edge is also finely toothed. The creeping willow, Salix repens, on the other hand, is generally recognized purely by its small size, as it rarely grows above a metre. The eared willow may still possibly be found by the river at Twickenham, and the creeping willow in Epping Forest. The most common representatives of the long-leaved willows in London are the crack white and weeping willows. The first two and their relations are the large willows we see along the edge of most of our waterways. Weeping willows and their relations have cascading branches and almost seem obligatory planting beside park lakes. They're all troublesome to identify precisely, but it is easy enough to hazard a guess at their parentage. In the case of the crack willow, Salix fragilis, breaking a branch and hearing a definitive crack is not the best character to look for. These are the common, large common willows we see along riverbanks, usually with wide open crowns. They have a familiar long-toothed leaf, but the leaf tapers to a finer point than most other willows. The leaves are also usually dark green with shiny upper sides and very distinct midribs. The true white willow, Salix alba, is less common than the crack, but found in similar situations. It can generally be separated by its more graceful upswept crown. Its leaves are more of a blue-green, a little smaller, and have a silky quality. Underneath they are almost a silvery grey, which gives the whole tree a much paler appearance than the crack willow. They both hybridize so freely, and so it is often a mixture of these characters that we encounter. If the tree looks like a white willow but has more of a blue-green sheen, especially from a distance, it may well be a cricket bat willow, Salix alba cerulea. When viewed closely, its leaves are an attractive blue-green above and just bluish below. These trees are phenomenally fast-growing, sometimes reaching 30 metres in a mere 50 years. They are common around London and the southeast, but rare elsewhere. They're always grown from cuttings, which can take as little as 12 years to reach 10 metres in height with a 1.5 metre girth. At this point, the bowl is then cut into bat-sized pieces. It is then cut up again into 8 segments to make 8 bats. They are then further cut so that the blades of each bat always lie along the radius of the original bowl. This ensures that the impact of any cricket ball is always softened by the wood, and there will be no splitting. The best bats are made from female trees, so we see very few males. Weeping willows are everybody's favourite and again something of a nightmare to identify precisely. They're trees that seem to have a natural propensity to reach out over water and then let their branches cascade down just to its surface. The true wild weeping willow, Salix babylonica, is a rare tree which comes from a small area of western China. Its specific name refers to the willows mentioned in the Bible, which grew beside the waters of Babylon. It is here where the Jews wept in their captivity and hung their harps in the trees. It seems much more likely that poplars line the banks of any Babylonian rivers rather than willows. The large impressive weeping willows we see in London are usually some hybrid between the true parent and either a white or crack willow, or even both. Especially popular are the crosses, involving the golden form of the white willow, Salix alba vitellina, which gave rise to the weeping willows with the familiar golden branches. These trees have always been popular, and in Victorian London, many were thought to have originated from a single specimen on the island of St. Helena. Napoleon is said to have loved this particular tree and wanted to be buried beneath it. It later got stripped by Victorian souvenir hunters. The last of the common willows is the osier, Salix viminalis, with its rowing boat-shaped leaves. It is not usually seen as a tree, and so is often copies to produce withies or whips for basket making. Generally, we notice these coppice trees in rows along the edges of waterways. Its leaves are long, enrolled, and slightly waved. They are also silvery beneath with prominent veins. It is usually the general shape of the leaf and the thick mop of gracefully wafting wands that betray their identity. These leaves are the longest willow leaves we see in the wild. Exceptionally long leaves seen on garden willows generally point towards the hoary willow, Salix elaeagnus. Another rarer garden willow with similarly long leaves is the purple osier, Salix purpurea. Now it can be recognized by its purple stems, but these were more of a reddish-brown earlier in the year. It has bluish-green, glabrous leaves without a tapering point. A useful field character is that its wood is bright yellow beneath if a little bark is rubbed off. The violet willow, Salix daphnoides, has more plum-coloured twigs covered in a natural bloom. Like the last species, it is occasionally seen in the wild, but rarely from a garden. Two other rare willows can be recognized by their smell. The bay willow, Salix patandra, can still be found on Wimbledon Common. Its leaves, which were sticky earlier in the year, are now leathery. If crushed, they release a scent similar to bay laurel. The almond or French willow, Salix triandra, can be recognized by chewing its twigs, which release the smell of rosewater. Its leaves seem intermediate between the long and round willows and are sometimes described as almond-shaped. A good place to look for wild willows is the Combe Valley, although all of London's rivers are bordered by them. More unusual species can be found in Hyde Park, Holland Park and Zion Park. In Royal Victoria Gardens, the very rare shining willow, Salix lucida, can be found. There is no salicetum in London, considering there are 300 species worldwide, but there is a national collection in Harpenden.